Hi everyone. We'll study Bhakti Sufi traditions. That is the sixth chapter of history. We have seen the changes in religious beliefs and devotional texts that happened between 8th to 18th century. In the last two videos, we have seen the development of Bhaktism in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, Alvars and Nayanars of Tamil Nadu and the Lingayats of Karnataka. Also, we saw the developments that is happening in the North India. In this module, we will study the growth of Sufism, the Chishtis in the subcontinent, life in the Chishti Kanha, Chishti devotionals, Siarat and Qawwali, Dargah of Khwaja Moinuddin, languages and communication, Sufis and the state. The growth of Sufism. Sufis were a group of religious-minded people in Islam. They were critical of the dogmatic definitions and scholastic methods of interpreting the Quran. They emphasized interpretation of Quran on the basis of personal experience. By the 11th century, Sufism evolved into a well-developed movement with a body of literature on Quranic studies and Sufi practices. Sufism was organized in an institution around the hospice or kanha controlled by a teaching master known as sheikh, fir or murshid. He established rules for spiritual conduct and interaction between inmates as well as between laypersons and the master. Silsilas. Silsila, literally meaning a chain, signifies a continuous link between master and disciple, stretching as an unbroken spiritual genealogy to Prophet Muhammad. Sufi silsilas began to appear in different parts of the Islamic world around the 12th century. Dargah. Dargah is a Persian term. Its meaning is tomb shrine. When the sheikh died, his tomb shrine became the center of devotion for his followers. This encouraged the practice of pilgrimage or ziyarat to his grave, particularly on his death anniversary. It was believed that after the death, the soul of sheikh get united with the soul of Allah. People sought their blessings to attain material and spiritual benefits. Thus evolved the cult of the sheikh, revered as wali. Basharia and Besharia Sufis. Basharia were those Sufis who adhere with the Shariat, and Besharia Sufis were those who ignored Shariat. Shariat is Islamic law. The Chishtis in the subcontinent, life in the Chishti Kanha. The Kanha was the center of social life. It comprised several small rooms and a big hall where inmates and visitors lived and prayed. The sheikh lived in a small room on the roof of the hall where he met visitors in the morning and evening. There was an open kitchen, langar. From morning till evening, people from all walks of life came to seek the blessings from the sheikh in various matters. Other visitors included poets such as Amir Hassan, Sijzi, and Amir Khusro, and the court historian Ziauddin Barani, and all of them wrote about the sheikh. Bowing before the sheikh, offering water to visitors, shaving the heads of initiates, yogic exercises, etc. usually happen in the Kanha. Sheikh Nizamuddin appointed his disciple to set up hospices in various parts of the subcontinent. In this way, they came in touch with the people, which led to the popularization of Chishti practices, teachings, and also the fame of Sheikh. Chishti devotionals, Ziyarat and Qawwali. Pilgrimage called Ziyarat, tombs of Sufi saints, is prevalent all over the Muslim world. This practice is an occasion for seeking the Sufis' spiritual grace. For more than 7 centuries, people from different walks of life expressed their devotion at the dargahs of the 5 great Chishti saints. Chishti is a Sunni Sufi order within the mystic Sufi tradition of Islam. It began in Chisht, a small town near Herat, Afghanistan, about 930 CE. The Chishti order is known for its emphasis on love, tolerance, and openness. The use of music and dance, including mystical chants performed by specially trained musicians or quails to evoke divine ecstasy, is also part of Ziyarat. The Sufis remember God either by reciting the Zikr, the divine names, or evoking his presence through sama or performance of mystical music known as Qawwali. Dargah of Khwaja Moinuddin. The most popular dargah is that of Khwaja Moinuddin, popularly known as Garib Nawaz, comforter of the poor. The dargah became so popular because of the following reasons: the austerity and piety of the sheikh, greatness of his spiritual successors, and the patronage of royal visitors. Location of Ajmer was another factor for its popularity, as it was located on the trade route connecting Delhi and Gujarat. It attracted number of travelers. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the first sultan to visit the dargah. Akbar, the Mughal emperor, visited dargah at Ajmer 14 times in his life, and these visits were aimed at seeking blessings for new conquests, fulfillment of his vows, and to get sons. Many of his wishes were soon fulfilled, and thus, as an offering, he gave generous gifts on each visit. He offered a huge cauldron to facilitate cooking for pilgrims. He even got a mosque constructed within the dargah. Languages and communication. The Chishtis composed their poems in several languages. The Chishtis used Hindavi or Persian language. Sufis such as Baba Farid composed poetry in local languages. Some Sufis composed long poems or masnavis to express ideas of divine love, using human love as an allegory. Sufi poetry was composed in the Dakhani language around the Bijapur and Karnataka region. Women, while performing household chores like grinding grain and spinning, sang these poems. Other poems were in the form of lurinama, lullabies, or wedding songs, shadinama. The Sufis of this region were inspired by the Kannada Vachanas of the Lingayats and the Marathi Abhangs of the sons of Pandharpur. Sufis and the state. The Chishti tradition was austere, but it did not isolate political power. The Sufis accepted unsolicited grants and donations from the political elites. The Sultan set up charitable trusts, asked endowments for hospices, and granted tax-free land. The Chishtis accepted donations in cash and kind and used for their immediate requirements such as food, clothes, living quarters, and ritual necessities such as sama. The sultans also came to depend on the Sufis to interpret the Sharia. It was believed that Awliya could intercede with God to improve the material and spiritual conditions of the people. As a result, kings got the shrines of the Sufis built near their tombs. There were instances of conflict between the sultans and the Sufis. To assert their authority, both expected certain rituals performed, like kissing of the feet, etc. The Sufi sheikh was regarded with high-sounding titles by the followers. Nizamuddin Awliya was addressed as Sultan al-Mashaykh.